Let's continue exploring the universe within art and the art behind farming. I'm your host, Ledoux, and in this episode, we're going to build one of my favorite farms, a super simple witch hut farm. These things take all of 5 minutes to build and give you such crazy stuff, from tons of redstone to gunpowder to all sorts of different potions. And best of all, it is super cheap to build. The tinted glass is totally optional, you don't need that at all. The mud and soul sand are either or, you either need one or the other. And it's always nice to have impaling on your trident, but it is not required. The first thing we need to do is go to a swamp, wander around, and find a witch hut. Now, these are structures that spawn in regular swamps, and because of that, they are not necessarily the easiest thing to find. So if you have trouble locating a witch hut, I would highly recommend chunkbase.com. All you have to do is go to Apps, scroll down to Witch Huts, then type in your world seed, select which version you are playing on, and it will show you where all of the witch huts are in your world. And once you find a witch hut, you are good to go. Now, the first thing to mention is that if your witch hut is above water, we want to fill in all of the water. I'm really not sure why, but water seems to negatively affect the rates of this structure. So just fill it in with dirt until you have a little area around the hut. Next up, we want to break all of the stairs up here on the roof. I'm not sure if this actually helps, but I have read multiple reports that the stairs actually lower the rates as well. So better safe than sorry, break the stairs. Now here on the inside, the spawn spot is always in the center of the room, 2 blocks away from the crafting table. Even though 1.21 did change where mobs spawn, structure mobs still spawn on the northwest corner. So we want to use a locator map or the sun to find which direction is northwest and place a marker block to the northwest of our spawn spot. And I designed this to where it should still work even if they do change structure spawns later on to spawn in the center of a block. But if you want to double check to make sure that you know where the spawn spot is, all we have to do is place glass panes 1 block above the floor on the entire inside of the hut. Then seal in the door and all of the windows with solid blocks to block the light, and go between 24 and 44 blocks away and wait for a witch to spawn. Now, you could always use tinted glass or do this at night so that you can actually see whenever a witch spawns, but either way, this is just a confirmation so that we know exactly where the spawn spot is. You could always skip this step if you want to. But either way, as we can see, the witch spawned exactly on the 4 blocks that we marked out. So we want to switch out these 4 blocks with either mud or soul sand. Mud and soul sand are technically not full blocks, so regular hoppers can still pull items down through them. Then go ahead and remove all of the glass panes, and even if you didn't use them to double check where your spawn spot is, you do still need to fill in the windows with solid blocks, so that it's dark in here. Now we can break out the crafting table and the cauldron, and go ahead and break out the ceiling to give us some room to work with. Then fill in the door with solid blocks, then place a layer of solid blocks along the floor, but on our spawn area, we're going to place 4 scaffolding. Then everywhere else, we're going to go up by 2 more solid blocks. The scaffolding in the center is the original spawn spot, so the one diagonally from it is the northwest, and we need to place a bucket of water above the scaffolding that is to the west of the original spawn spot, so that the water flows forward and toward the center of this hut. Then poke a hole in the wall right next to where the water is flowing, so the water is flowing from that corner to that hole, basically. Now we need to cover up this, right above the water, with either tinted glass or solid blocks. Tinted glass is just nice because you can see the witches spawning, but if it's expensive and you don't want to use it, you can just use solid blocks instead. Now here in the front, next to the hole we dug, we need to place an extra block, break out that top one so that we can place a piston facing toward the roof that we built, the tinted glass. Then over here, we need to break out this fence and place 2 solid blocks diagonally and make sure that this is also a solid block. Then place a torch on the side of that center one, a repeater facing away, and then a dust under that. Then to make it stop activating, place a lever on the side of one of those blocks and turn it on. Now grab your trident and throw it in this hole, preferably an impaling trident to kill them faster, but it's up to you. Then under our hut, we're going to place a chest to collect our items, somewhere underneath the mud. Then directly underneath the 4 mud or soul soil, we're going to place 4 hoppers. So 2 of the hoppers pointed down into the chest, then 2 of the hoppers pointed into those. Or really, however you want to do your storage is totally fine. Now we just need to make a place to AFK. The easiest way to make an AFK spot is to go 42 blocks above your spawn spot. So at the same Y level as your spawn spot, we're going to go up by 42 scaffolding and build a tiny platform directly above the spawn spot. So this will put us 42 blocks above the spawn spot. And because the witch hut is a little higher up than the rest of the area, this will block spawns without you needing to spawn proof. But really, as long as you're within spawning distance of this witch hut, it will spawn witches. The spawning distance for Simulation 4, which is the default simulation distance, is 24 to 44 blocks away. But if you're playing on a higher simulation distance, you'll have to spawn proof a larger area. So on Sim 4, as long as we are between 24 and 44 blocks away, it will spawn witches. So if you have a base nearby this, just make that base 24 blocks away and spawn proof as much of the area as you can. One last thing to talk about is the experience. So there's no real way for you to collect the experience, and it won't produce very much anyway, but experience building up over time can lead to problems. So I would recommend placing a skulk catalyst into the thick part of the wall on the front side. So on the wall that is 2 blocks thick, right here in the front, so that it will absorb all of the experience and cut down on lag. Just make sure not to place it in the wall of the kill chamber because it is transparent and will let in light. But if you're sad about not being able to collect the experience, I have to say that the best source of experience is just trading pumpkins and melons to farmers. But I'm also currently editing a really nice mob farm that will give you like 14 levels in about 30 seconds or so. Another thing I've been working on is designing a creeper farm. Now I would be amiss if I didn't mention that there is a ton of misinformation about creeper farms. Basic mob farms, like the one I just showed, and ghast farms, both will actually give you more gunpowder for less materials and less work. Really, the only time to ever build a creeper farm is when you want to make a head farm or a music disc farm, which I plan on making in the near future as well. But this witch hut farm is definitely one of my favorites. I love that it gives you some gunpowder and tons of redstone. Plus, sticks in bottles is really cool as well, and glowstone dust, and then even random potions. You can even change which potion it gives you if you change the type of damage that the witches receive before they get killed. This one will basically give you healing potions and water breathing potions, but you can get fire resistance and other things as well. But that's all we got for this episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, share, and subscribe. And be sure to leave a comment. Let me know what you did or didn't like about the video. If you have any questions or requests, and I will do my best to help you out. Or if you don't know what to say, just tell me hi. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. Always remember that you are totally awesome. And above all, don't forget to have fun. Bye-bye.